Happy Friday, everybody. Sorry we started a little late. But we are here with Creatorcon Q&A as we are every week. And tonight we have Phil Conrad as our guest. I am Phil Russertt, the host. I am the over for Creatorcon and comic book convention where creators are celebrities. And we have thousands of comic books to buy and enjoy. We are currently on hiatus right now. So while we are on hiatus, go to www.creatorconevent.com in which you can leave your email address and you can get up-to-date announcements on the show. My audio is reprising. How does that sound? Is that better, Chris? Anyway, sorry about that. Some technical issues this evening. So as usual, I start my show with some shout-outs. We have Mad Titan Comics, which is at Mad Titan _comics at Instagram. And the owner, Eric Gunderson, is on Facebook. If you like key issues, slab, graded issues, or even just issues filling the holes with your fun, you can go to Eric, and he has more than reasonable prices. We also have lesdudis.com, LESDUDIS, for your pop culture, geek culture needs. They also run by Andy Lee, who also does convention reviews. And he has graciously done the one doing my promotion graphics. Great job, Andy. Thank you so much. We also have Toy Apocalypse, which you can go to their eBay, which is toyapocalypse.net. On eBay, it's all your collectibles and horror collectibles, children's collectibles, heroes, you name it, and they have. On top of that, we have UK Lopez. UK has his Instagram show every Monday night at 9, and it's Inking with TK, QUIQUE. He does live inking, and we'll have a guest with him every episode. You can also go to his store, which is Lopez, GIL, myportfolio.com, where you can see all of his art. You can also DM him on Facebook at Enrique Lopez to get his anthology books and this. You can also check out his Instagram, which is, and his Twitter, which is at Studio Main ESL, Studio MAENESL. We also have an Indiegogo and a Kickstarter coming up. Really, the audio go. I don't know what's going on. We also have an Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaign going on right now, and it's called Tales from Europe. It's an anthology series in the vein of Astro City. If you like that kind of story with a city as the background, then please go to Instagram and go to Indiegogo and support the campaign. I'm trying to work out the audio. If it's not coming through, my apologies. We will try to fix this. Before we get started, I just want to introduce Will Conrad to those who may not be aware of, but I'm sure you are. Will Conrad is a Marvel and DC artist who also works with Dark Force and Dynamite. You may know his works on X-Men, Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, X-23, Black Panther, Outsiders, Justice League Odyssey, Nightwing, Action Comics, you name it, and he's done it. He's also a good friend of mine and one of the nicest, most humblest people you ever meet in the industry. And long hard-lined in, Chris. So without further ado, let's welcome Will Conrad. This is an interesting night, Will. Let me see if this works.
Hello, guys. How you doing? Is everybody listening?
Yeah, is everything coming out better? Chris or Andy, is this coming out better or no?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, Will, thanks for coming on. It's good to see you. In honor of you, I actually got my shirt on.
Yeah, so, I think you are flying more than me. Your shirt is, yeah.
No, just a heavier Superman than you. That's all. I'm the retired Superman at this point. I'm Superman after 20 years of donuts. So anyway, uh, I don't know if everybody's aware, but you live in Brazil. You're a Brazilian artist, and you started in the early 2000s. So I want to
Yep.
ask you, how was that for you? I mean, you didn't speak English. You're a humble Brazilian artist, and at that time, American artists dominated the industry. Marvel and DC weren't going as international as they are now. And you're
Yeah.
jumping in with the big guns, and you're doing this work. How was that for you? Was it intimidating? What kind of adjustment did you have to make?
Well, yeah, it was not so easy. Um, when I started out, there were only a few Brazilian artists on the market, and as you said, I didn't. I still don't speak English very well, but at least I can communicate. But at the
Sure,
time,
you
I could.
do.
Yeah, I know. But at the time, I couldn't speak at all. So what I did was I found out that there was an agent in the U.S. There was representing some artists for the American market. So I memorized some English lines to start to communicate with him, and I start sending samples. The first thing that happened, I don't know that if people are aware, my real name is not Will. This is an American name. So, and I'm Brazilian. So my name is Vilmar. So it would not be so easy for people to pronunciate in English. So I started sending samples as Vilmar, and I start getting answers for Will. So
Makes it easy.
I said, "Oh, who is this guy? I don't know this guy." "Oh, it's you."
Well,
So,
you could be called worse, right? So
oh
Will's not
yeah,
bad. You can settle for Will.
I have been called worse, believe me. So, but anyway, the first samples that I sent, the guys looked at it and said, "Oh, there is some promise there." But I was an illustrator at the time, and I was not used to doing American comics, and so I was refused at first hand. So, and they said, "Oh, you have to change this, you have to change your style." So I started working on adapting my pencil style to fit what the American market was looking for, and it took some time. At first, it was a little bit intimidating, but it's like I always say every time I talk to somebody who is starting out. You can't. You just need one yes. You are going to hear, I mean, hundreds of no's.
Right.
So I was working and waiting for my one yes, and I finally got it. So
Well, it's like that guy on the beach. You ask 100 women out, one's bound to say yes, right?
exactly, that was me.
so, so what were they looking for that you weren't doing? Like, I mean, obviously you have to submit sequential work. They want to see that you can tell a story with the art. But what was it style wise, or what was it
Yeah,
that you weren't doing that they were looking for?
it was early 2000. So there were some artists at the time that were at the top of their game, and they were at the top of the market, and they were looking for styles that were close to that style that they were doing. And as I said, I was an illustrator, and my style was very specific for illustration. They didn't say much about my storytelling because actually my storytelling was not so bad. I think that the main problem was that the drawings were nice, they were pretty, they were well done, but they were not. They were more focused on the European market rather than the American market. So I had to, to adjust my style to fit what the American market was looking for at the time.
But you started out as an inker, right? You weren't penciling when you first came into the industry.
Yeah, remember, I was an illustrator. I was already working, doing illustrations here in Brazil. And as an illustrator, I had to do the whole work. I had to do the pencils myself, the inking myself, and the colors. So I did the colors sometimes digitally, not so much because digitals at the time, I didn't have much money to buy a good computer to make digital colors. So mostly, and I was doing watercolors and acrylics and stuff like that. Uh, but my inking was very good. I was already inking with brush and crow pen and stuff like that. And when they saw my work, they said, "Okay, your pencils are not quite ready. The style needs to be a little more polished, but your inking is great." So in I think it was 2001, I got the first chance to do some inking um, over Cliff Richards on Buffy, the Vampire Slayer for Dark Horse, and they loved it because I was doing a very different style of inking. The guy who was inking was using like those little technical pens, and I came with a brush. I did those brush strokes, and it fit very well the book, and they loved it. And so I started inking, and I did like almost 4 years as an inker while still working on my pencils.
Before we get into how you transitioned into pencils, I see you working on something there. What do you got going on?
Well, this is a sketch that I'm doing that will be for auction.
Conan.
Yeah,
Nice. You worked on Conan too.
yeah, I worked on Conan for Dark Horse, and I also worked on Cole for Dark Horse too.
So you were inking for the first 4 years, and then you transitioned into penciling, which was what you prefer to do, I would imagine. Did you get
Oh
a cover
yes.
gig, or did you do sequentials first? And what did you start on, and how did you get that?
The first job that I did was Spook Show.
What was that?
Spook Show. It was a comic book written by Rob Zombie,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, it was all in pencils. It was horribly done. I was, I still had a long way to go as a penciler, and I was still working as an inker at the time. So they needed somebody to do some. I think it was 8 pages or something like that, and they liked my work enough, well enough to do those pages, and they loved it. Actually, I didn't. I think that I should. There are a lot of things that I should have done better, but
I think that's every artist, though.
yeah. So they think they seem to like it, and this was the first one. But after I was working as an inker, if I recall well, I started getting little jobs for small publishers doing pencils. And my first big break was for Marvel, actually, doing Elektra. It was an Elektra story, and everything went wrong because story was very difficult to do. I did a style, and the inker that they put with me, he was very good, but he has nothing to do with my style. It was
Right.
completely different. And so he changed a lot of stuff on drawings, and things that should be more organic became very mechanical, and
Right.
everything was wrong. I mean, everything was off. Even the colors didn't fit. So in the end, it was a good experience art-wise, but it is one of those things that if you could go back in time and redo it all over again, I would.
So basically, then you're saying that having the right creative team is really important. It's not just any one individual pencils and inkers. You really have to be
No,
able to gel, and the styles have to match. So isn't that an
or
editor
my
thing, though? Shouldn't the editor be making sure that the pencil and the inker and the colorist all line up right, or even the writer?
Yep. Yeah, it should happen. But sometimes there are several things that can happen during this time. Sometimes the editor, it's he does. I mean, sometimes he's not experienced enough. Sometimes
Right.
the time is too tight, and the deadline is right over the corner, and he doesn't have the time to assemble a perfect team. So a lot of things sometimes happen. Sometimes it's not such a big story; it's just a fill-in story, and they don't
Right.
worry about that too much. But there is a lot of things that can justify this kind of things happening. So who goes figure?
So
And,
what's
remember, that was my first uh, real pencil job. So I didn't have
right.
an active voice. I couldn't say, oh, I want this. I would like to work with that
Right.
inker.
New man on the totem pole. You don't get any say. You're just grateful you
Exactly.
have the job, right?
I was really happy that I was, actually doing something in pencils.
Well, I have to tell you, of all the Brazilian artists that I meet, I mean, they're all so talented and very humble. I mean, I don't know, you're a little cocky, but no, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah.
um, so, what's a creative team you've worked with that you felt you really gelled well with that really helped accentuate your pencils?
Well, I was very fortunate to work with a lot of good guys, good writers.
And
I
you guys
had a
are all scared to answer this because you're afraid you're going to offend somebody.
no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm really not. I already had some problems,
Yeah,
on creative teams. I don't have that kind of problems, but I understand that sometimes it's not that person's fault or problem. Sometimes it's
right,
just the things that they don't match. So I can't say, oh, this guy, we don't work. He doesn't work well. That's not. Sometimes that's not the case. It's just that he is good, but the styles don't fit.
right.
You know. Um,
So,
I
who did
think that.
fit well?
Well, I think I had very good matches, but I think the one that stands out to me is the when I did Serenity, the first issue of Serenity, uh, because that book was the book that showcased my work to the big publishers.
Well, you won a
Uh,
Hugo
uh,
Award for that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
everything, matched. Everything was right. It was Josh Whedon writing. Um, there was no inker. I did that only in pencils. I did very, very tight pencils. I even hurt my hand a lot because I
So they
had to.
colored over the pencils?
Yes, and it was
Oh,
Laura
wow.
Martin. So she did a great job. And so the story was great. The dialogues were fantastic. The colorist was amazing. And I think the timing was also right because what they did was, remember the Firefly series?
Of course. Got a
So
cult following, yeah.
Firefly had just ended, and they were about to launch the movie Serenity. So the story was the link between the end of the series and what happens on the movie,
Right.
and so it was a very good. Everything meshed together. So
Nice. And
it
that's
was a
you, like
great.
I said, you got a Hugo Award, and that I think put you on the map a bit. And then you started working for Marvel, like you said, with Elektra, and now I see you doing DC. Um, so what you had said, what you didn't really say what creative team that you felt you gelled well with, but
Yeah, I did. Joss Whedon.
okay. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, you did with Serenity, but
Yeah, yeah.
anybody in
Um,
Marvel or DC?
oh yeah. I worked with at DC. I worked with Rob Williams, and I'm also working with him again. I can't tell much, but it's a creator-owned project with him.
Okay.
He's a great writer. We had a great time working together. And Ivan Nunes on colors. And for DC nowadays, I mean, for the past, I think 5 6 years, I have been doing my own inks. So I can blame the inker as much as I want.
Well, you're at somebody now.
Yeah. Oh, the inker screwed that page. I know the inker, so
So you're doing Red Border right now with Jason Starr, right? Which is a creator-owned
no, no, no,
project.
no. I already did that border. It's already done, already
Okay.
finished. It was Jason Starr and me. We created the project. Jason Starr came with the concept, and the script is amazing. Um, the dialogues are amazing. I came up with all the visuals for the characters, and the colors they are done by Ivan Nunes.
Nice.
Um, it's a four issues story, and the third issue just came out in the US, and now in August the last issue is coming out, and I mean the feedback has been great.
Good.
It's a thriller, and man, it's non-stop action. It's very good.
Tell us about it. Give us a brief synopsis without ruining anything.
Well, basically, it resonates with the problem on the border. Obviously, it's called red border. It's a couple of well-educated Mexicans that they have to cross the border illegally, but not because they want to. They are being chased by a cartel lord in Mexico, and they are running away, and they have to cross the border. And something happens at the border that they think is going to save them, but instead they are put in a much worse situation, and everything unravels from there. And all hell breaks loose, and it's a very good story, man. It's very fun.
After you're done with this, you said it's 4 issues. Do you have any plans for any more creator-owned projects, or to continue the story in another
Well,
mini
Red
series? Or
Border, yeah, these all of these are coming from Awa and Upshot. Um, I am actually, as I said, I'm actually doing another story, another creator-owned project. I'm actually finishing up the second issue with Rob Williams.
nice, but you can't tell us anything right now.
I can't tell, and I am itching to talk about it, but I can't. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I won't push you. At least not on camera. Off camera, I'll push you.
I'll tell you later.
Now, you met my daughters. You were at my house. You met my daughters, and my eight
Oh,
year
they are
old.
cute.
Thank you. Thank God they look like mommy. Uh,
Yeah,
anyway,
God knows what He does. I can say for a fact, because in my case it's the same. I had two daughters. They look nothing like me. Thanks God.
so my actually last night I was at the table talking to my daughter, and she wanted to ask you a question, but it's past their bedtime, so they're asleep. She wanted to ask you, my 8 year old, what inspired you to be an artist?
I don't know exactly what. If there, I don't know if there wasn't a specific thing that inspired me. All I know is that since I was very young, I always liked drawing. Especially, I loved comics. I think um, I I started reading and writing, trying to draw uh, copy comics. I looked at the comics and I started reading and trying to draw and doing the little balloons and stuff like that. Um, but my family is a very regular family. I mean, very down to earth. And my father is an accountant and a lawyer, and we didn't have much of the comic culture here in my town. So it was a little hard for me to at the start, because I didn't really think that I would be able to work as an artist. My father always said, you guys, to me and my brothers, that you guys have to find a real job that you can put
A
put
real
food on
job.
the table, put food on the table. And I did 3 years of administration in the college, and in the end I couldn't bear going to
Really, you weren't
school.
fulfilled by that as opposed to being a comic book artist? I don't get it.
Yeah. What happened was, along the way I started getting little jobs as an illustrator, and as I started getting more and more clients, I had to choose between a real job and a second rate job, according to my father, doing illustrations. But I always wanted to do comics, so I started working with illustration, but on the side, as a hobby, I did my little comics. I had a little friends. I met some friends, and we did like little comics that we call here fanzines, and that was it. Um, and somewhere there, I found out, as I said, there was an agency that was representing some Brazilian artists, and then I started sending samples. I said, oh,
Okay.
if there, and there were some already some artists from Brazil that were doing some stuff for the American market, and I said, okay, if they are doing it, why can't I?
Right.
And and along the way, one thing happened in 1997 that I will never forget. There was a convention here in Brazil that was called Bienal de Quadrinhos, Comics Bienal, that later became the FIC, the International Comics Festival that we have here every 2 years. And it would be the first time they had it here in my town, and there were some big names coming. Paolo Serpieri was here, Luke Ross was here, and Will Eisner was here. So when
Wow.
I have everything from the Will Eisner. I already had everything from Will Eisner at the time, and it was one of my main influences. And when I learned that he was coming, I did a lot of samples to show him, and the guys that were organizing the convention said, okay, there was a huge line. As I said, I didn't speak any English at all.
Right.
So what I did was I translated a few questions and memorized those lines. And I took two books for him to sign because they only allowed two books for each person. There was a huge line, as I said, and I took like a few pages, put on a folder, and I hid it between the two books.
Nice. Nice. That's good. It's smart.
Man, I mean, can you imagine? I'm here from a small town in Brazil. When would I ever imagine that I would have the chance to talk to the Wisner?
Fortune favors the bold is an expression we have here.
so,
So good for
so
you.
what I did when I got to my turn, I put the books and he signed the first book, and then when he took the second book, there was a folder. I said, "Can you look, please?" And then the guys, "No, no, he can't." And he said, "No, no, calm down, calm down." And then he looked very quickly to my folder, and then he he stopped looking and he looked at me, and then he started looking again. But this time he was doing it slowly,
Uh-huh. You
and
made him notice. You're good.
yeah, I was shaking.
Yeah, fanboying, right?
And then he looked at me and said, "Keep it up. If you keep studying, someday you'll be a professional comic book artist."
So he
So
told you you had potential.
yeah, he told that to me, and I never forgot. And from that time on, I said, okay, if he said that I can be a comic book professional artist, so nothing will stop me. So,
Would you say that's one of the most pivotal inspirational moments for
oh,
you?
that was the most. The second
Nice.
one was the time that I had the chance to talk and work with Stan Lee.
Oh wow. Well, tell us about
Yeah.
that. You can't just drop that out there and let it go. And show us how you're doing in progress on that art, by the way.
Okay,
I love the angle.
trying to do something different. I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but I'll try. Well, that Stan Lee story was. Um, I was already working on it. I was already as a penciler, and I was doing some stuff for Dark Horse at the time. And at the time, remember that show that Stan Lee had called "Who Wants to Be a Superhero"?
Yes, I do.
So yeah, it was like a reality show, and the guys they had to
It
create
wasn't
their
very
own
good.
characters. Yeah, I mean, but it was Stan Lee, I don't care.
Yeah.
The thing is, um, one the guy who won the show, he would have a comic book written by Stan Lee and drawn by some artist, and every every guy in the show they had one cover done by some artist of what would be the comic book that he would have drawn for him. That would be the cover for if he won the show. So there were several covers done. I was the artist doing one of the covers. And when the show ended, the guy who won, um, would have obviously the comic book done, and Stan Lee had to choose somebody to draw the comics. And so he went over all the guys who did the covers, and he chose my work to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was no, yeah, that's not even the best part, man.
Did you slip him 100 under the table, or?
No, no, no. The story gets even better. I, my studio was not at home at the time. I had a little, you know, office outside.
Yeah.
It was close by. It was like 5 minutes from home, and I was there working. And my wife called me. She was frantic. She was almost crying, saying, "Somebody called here." I couldn't understand because she didn't speak English either.
Right.
And at the time, I spoke a little better. And she was, I just understood Stan Lee, and I could answer. And the guy hangs up. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think Stan Lee called, and
Aw.
I couldn't understand. And she was, I said, calm down. I'm going home. I go home. I took the car, got home, and I was talking, trying to calm her down. And then the phone rang again, and it was somebody say, "Hello, I would like to talk to Mr. Will Conrad." I said, "Oh, it's him." Said, "Oh, Mr. Stanley is going to talk."
Wow. He's so big that he gets somebody to mention that he's going to talk on the phone. He doesn't even do it
Yeah,
himself.
it was his assistant, I think,
Yeah.
because I think yeah they were trying to reach me first,
Right.
and then I was like, hey, we spoke a little bit, and he told me about the project that he loved my work, and he was looking forward to working with me.
Wow.
It was so nice, and he was such a very nice guy. And then when we started doing the project, he called me several times, to discuss the script, asking about some stuff. And later on, after that, I was in a convention in San Diego, and we were, you know, signing almost side by side. And I had some time with him.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I saw the pictures you had posted a while ago with that. I mean,
Yeah, you
if
could
these
see
things
my
don't,
face, right?
yes, you were fanboying. We're trying not to, but if these things aren't a sign or tell you that you're meant to do this, I don't know what is. Because I mean, how many people can say those two stories between Will Eisner and Stan Lee? By the way,
Yeah.
our good friend Geraldo Borges says
Oh
hello to both of
yeah,
us and best wishes. He's going to be a guest next Friday. Uh,
yeah. Geraldo is a great guy, a great friend, great artist.
Absolutely, all three. Wonderful person. You both of you are, and I actually met both of you at the same time, and you both drew on my jam pieces, which behind me, I mean, I can angle it up a little bit. If you look, there's the colored piece of villains on the side. You guys drew on that, as well as some other ones. But yes, you guys have done phenomenal work, and you're on my jam pieces on a regular basis. And I look forward to seeing you guys again New York Comic Con when things get back to normal.
Yeah, me too,
Um,
man.
you had drawn a Lady Deathstrike on one of my jam pieces, and he drew a Mojo. And I got so many compliments, people raving about those two pieces. I mean, big, well-established artists are going, "Whoa, who is this?" And it was pretty cool. And we had a good time when I first met you. It was years ago, but I kept
I
coming back. You guys
remember.
did like 4 or 5 commissions for me that day, and we just kept joking and laughing the whole weekend. Good guys, down to earth, and I look forward to having him on the show next Friday.
Yeah, and I had a
So
lot. I had a great time in that show too. When I met, when you brought me to that show.
when
Ah,
my show,
yep,
I
we
wasn't
had a
gonna bring
great
that
time
up,
there too.
but
Yeah, I have to. It was so amazing, man. You guys were so nice to me, and your family's so incredible. Oh boy, I'm
just
sorry.
on them because I didn't pay
I don't
him.
know if I could talk about it, but thank you.
Well, listen, I will take compliments. I'm not against them. I will not take bad reviews from major artists. I have no problems with that at all. Please don't stop. It's okay. You don't need to cut off at any time. People pay attention. It
Yeah,
was
these
really
guys.
great having you come out. It really was. And I got an amazing Nightcrawler commission from you at that show, which is up on my Nightcrawler wall upstairs, which I've posted before. And my wife loves that Nightcrawler that you did too. And my daughters actually love your art too. They love the Nightcrawler. My daughter drew a Nightcrawler that's above yours on that wall. Uh,
Oh,
and it's funny because my 6-year-old had a question for you too. And I mean,
cool.
I'm gonna be paraphrasing the question. She didn't say it quite this, she didn't articulate it quite this well. But she asked, you have to draw a lot every day. She asked if you have to do that, and if so, what motivates you to be able to draw constantly like that? I mean, I would imagine it gets tedious sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it can get tedious sometimes, but I think that the first thing is that I love doing what I do. I really, 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 really love drawing. Um, and as I said, I think I'm very fortunate that I can do what I like, and especially that I can draw characters that I love so much. And I grew up reading and admiring. Um, Obviously, sometimes we get tired and we have to also, rely on our families and um, sometimes take some time, try to keep in shape. And what I do sometimes to keep motivating is sometimes I'm so tired of doing the same comics over and over and over and over that I stop every day. I take like 10, 15 minutes to draw something I really like that comes anything that comes to my mind. Okay, now I want to draw a dragon. Now I want to draw a horse. Now whatever comes to my mind.
Right.
And I do that to to loosen up my hand, the lines, and to clear a little bit on my mind. So I get into the groove and I get into the rhythm. Then I go to the page. That's the best thing that I can do, to keep motivating. And when I can't stand to be at the art table anymore, then I go out, do a little thing that I love. I like to play guitar. I don't play it well, but I like to do it.
No, you're pretty
And
good.
no, I know my limits. I'm not, but I'm good enough, to clear my mind. And sometimes I go driving, some stuff like that. Spend time
Go to
with
your
my
Zen place.
daughters. Yeah,
Go
huh?
to your Zen. Go to your Zen place. Like,
Exactly. That's very, very important to keep the creative juices on all the time.
so Dan Lee wanted to ask, how do artists keep their eyes from burning and tearing up? I guess because you're constantly focused on what you're drawing, and especially if you have some fine detail.
Well, the first thing is, the lights that you have. They must be very well uh, think thought about. I mean, I have a light here at the table. I have a good light here. I try to always use the natural light. That's very important because otherwise, you are going to really, uh, hurt your eyes. I try not to draw with very dark environment.
Right.
And yeah, and we have to do, believe it or not, some exercises for the eyes. Like blinking, because sometimes we are like this and we forget to blink. We don't even see it, and then the eyes start, hurting. Um, so we gotta be careful. And when we are too tired, just get away a little bit from the art table and get some rest. Not only for the eyes, but the backs too.
Right. And your neck. Do you ever get like an artist block of some kind? Like, is there such thing as an artist block? Like, there's a writer's block?
I think so. I do have them, now and again.
What do you do to get
But
through those?
I look at my bills that I have to pay.
Let's look at the stack that just came in the mail.
Yeah, I look at them, they look at me and say, "Come on."
Yeah. When your daughters
No,
come
I'm
in and say,
kidding.
"Daddy, I want this expensive electronic thing or something," you're like, "Okay, better get back to art, drawing." That's
Yeah,
funny.
I think, yeah. Well, I have, obviously I have sometimes that I am blocked, but as I said, what I do is, I just get away from it a little bit. If I'm having trouble drawing something or thinking about a specific scene, I go do something else for a little while, or draw something else, or
Right.
and then I go back to it and it starts flowing again.
Can you do like a more than a page a day or less than a page a day? I mean, like how much can you get done in a day if you're able to focus?
I I don't measure my schedule on a daily basis. I do it on a weekly basis
Okay.
because some there are pages that are very quick to do, and there are pages that are a lot of trouble to do. So sometimes I do one page a day. Sometimes I do a little less. Sometimes I do a little more. I usually do 5 pages a week.
Okay, so it's
Uh,
kind of like averaging one a day with
yeah, but
weekends off.
yeah, but remember nowadays I pencil and ink, so this is inked page.
Oh, okay. So as far as the books you've worked on, besides Action Comics and X-Men and some major books, which character did you enjoy drawing the most? And if you could pick a book that you could be a regular on right now, what would you pick?
Well, every work that I do, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, and each of them has something, a different flair to it. I always love doing drawing, more human characters. I can't say enough how much I like doing Superman because it's
Mm-hmm.
Superman. But for example, I would love to work on a regular book for Batman.
For Batman?
Uh,
Man,
yeah.
everybody loves Batman. I'm a Superman guy.
No, you don't understand. I am too. But as I said, I love doing, human characters.
Gotcha.
I love doing characters that can be beat up. You can draw him, all banged up and stuff like that, and you can have a real danger all the time on the character.
Right.
Because Superman is will only be killed if somebody finds some kryptonite or stuff like that. It's difficult to kill Superman, and with more human characters, you can do a lot of stuff that is very very funny with the characters.
Well, I mean,
The
that
other
also
cat,
depends on
yeah,
the writer.
the other character I like doing is Conan, Wolverine, characters like that. There are a lot of characters that I like doing.
So you were talking earlier about your experiences with Will Eisner and Stan Lee. Do you have any convention experiences that stand out with you? I mean, you're welcome to say the good and the bad. I don't have a problem with that. And it could be fans, it could be other creators. Come on, tell us the dirt,
Uh,
Will. Let's get
I
to it.
have I have a lot of convention experiences. Some are good, some are bad, and I have some that are very unusual, I would say.
Well,
Um,
besides the amazing one you had meeting me at New York Comic Con years ago, I mean, what have you experienced? Tell us. Come on, give us the dirt.
well, I remember one. This was one of my first conventions in the U.S. And it was a small convention. I don't know if it was Ohio or Detroit or something like this. And I mean, I've been. I think that was like second time that I have been in the U.S. something like that. So
Okay.
everything to me was new.
Were you
And
speaking English more proficiently by
yeah,
then, or?
yeah, I was already. I could already understand. Uh, I was with my friend Mike Deodato at a convention, and we okay, let's go walk a little bit, see the convention. So we got away from the table and we are walking, and all of a sudden, looking we saw in a booth, a comic book booth, there was a guy there looking for some books, and the guy was David Carradine.
Oh, really?
Yes, I think he was. I don't know if he was already working. I think he was already working on Kill Bill, and he had some leather jacket, it was there. And I saw, man, that's David Carradine. Fanboy strikes again. Like, I said, man, that's David Carradine. Oh, and the other, yeah. I said, let's go take a picture. And then I said, no, no, no. I said, look, come on, man, let's take a picture. I'll never see David Carradine again. I said, okay, let's go. And then I took my camera and we went there to take a picture with David Carradine. And I came to him and said, hey, Mr. David Carradine, I'm a big fan. I watched all the Kung Fu
Right.
episodes, and I'm a huge fan. I am from Brazil, as if it would matter. So I'm from Brazil. I am a big fan of yours. Could I take a picture? And he didn't even look up. he kept flipping to the
Really?
book, like
Wow.
like like I wasn't there. It's like
Oh, wow.
I was so, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know the protocol. What should I do now? Should I just back up, walking backwards? Should I just, thank you and go away? What should I do?
If you're in New York, I think New Yorkers know what you should have done. Yo, I'm talking to you, man. Turn around. I'm the one who paid for you to have a career. Turn around and give me a second. That would be the New York response.
So I, I said, I was so, I didn't know what to do. So I started just to walk away quietly.
Slink
But
away.
then when I was turning to walk away, he looked at me, he put the book on the table, and he came to me and he hugged me, he put his arm around me and take the picture.
Okay.
No, calm down, look at that. And then Deodato was like, okay, let me take a picture. When Deodato was like with his finger on the button to take the picture, David Carradine looked at me and said, I charged $250 for a picture, right?
Oh.
That
Was he
that was
kidding?
all I that was all I had in my pocket. I didn't have any more money.
He wasn't kidding?
What would I say? No, I don't want the picture anymore. Take your hands off me. I said, okay,
Oh, my God.
okay.
Wow. Well, let's
And
strike.
Deodato was laughing and he took the picture. And then, thank you. And then when I went to grab the money to give to him, he smiled at me and said, don't worry about it.
Oh, good. I was gonna say that was a bad move. Wow.
Oh, boy.
So he's a jokester. Any fan experiences? We'll stick with positive because obviously you don't want to mention the negative. But any really interesting characters that you met or positive fan experiences that stand out?
Yeah, I mean there are a lot. Mostly is children. Sometimes they come around the table. Can I see? They ask for especially because I don't charge for kids.
Right. Oh, that's nice of you.
I don't like to charge for kids, and when they come, I just do a quick sketch for them,
Well, they
and
don't have any
that's and
money anyway.
exactly. Oh yeah, but the way I think is I remember when I was a kid, and if I had somebody that could do what I do for them, my God, man, I mean, I would be in heaven.
Right.
Um, but sometimes I'm doing the drawing, and they ask, "Can I see?" And I call them to come to the other side of the table. Man, the look on their faces is just priceless. That's one of the main reasons that I like to do conventions. It's so
Nice.
great, so great. And there was a lady one time. I was actually not drawing yet. I was doing inks at the time. I was inking Buffy, and there was a lady there that was taking. She came for me to sign some books, and I did the signing, and she was in a wheelchair. Um, I don't know exactly what she had, but I think she was a handicapped. I don't know exactly what was the problem, but she couldn't walk, and she had a lot of books, a lot of
Maybe
Buffy
that's why she has a
books.
chair.
And then while I was signing on the last book, I did there was a good space, a good blank space on the cover, and then I did the signing and I did a little sketch for her very quickly, and she started crying. You know, she said to me, you can't imagine how much you guys
Oh,
mean to us.
that was
So
nice.
that was I mean, I was very touched by that.
Well, you had given me your art book after my show, and you had done that remark of Colossus because I'm a Nightcrawler and Colossus fan. And since I got the Nightcrawler commission, you went with Colossus, and I really appreciated that. That was very kind. And you also on the book that the sketchbook that I had at the show that my friend got graded and everything. He had everybody sign and everything. So you are definitely a very generous, kind individual, and I do appreciate that. And you've always been humble. I have to say that. So with
Thank
that
you, man.
said, well, first let's get an update. What's the picture looking like? Nice. You're getting that good grim look in his face. I like that
Yeah,
angle, the way he's looking.
I wanted to do something a little different. As I said, the jury's still out if I'm going to make it.
It looks great so far. So I asked this of every guest towards the end of the show. If you could go back years to when you were first about to get in the industry or just getting into the industry, what advice would you give yourself?
Buy some Google stocks. I'm kidding. No, I would say, trust that you can do it. I mean, trust more that you can do it. And, don't waste your time trying to find a real job, just to satisfy your father or your mother, or because you're afraid you can't pay the bills. I mean, you are only as big as the size of your own dreams, and I'm thankful for the fact that I didn't give up my dreams. But if I knew how good it would be, I mean, it's a lot of work, it's hard sometimes, but I wouldn't do anything else. And if I knew how good and how fulfilling it would be for me, working on comics, working with such great group of talents, and meeting the guys that I admire, that I grew up reading, and especially meeting good friends like you, like Mike Dorado, like everybody that I know nowadays, and having the feedback from the fans and stuff like that, I would have started sooner. So,
Well, what you have to do, well, you don't have to do, but I emailed Mike about coming on the show, so you got to send him a message. Yeah, man, do the show. That's what you got to
I'll
do.
do.
And then you can come here and I'll buy you some American New York pizza. New York
Oh,
pizza. And tell Philippe he can come too, and I'll make sure he eats it.
I knew you would say
You
that.
knew I was going to throw that in there, just for everybody
Yeah,
listening. At New York
Philippe,
Con, go ahead.
Felipe won't take that. He is
So,
very proud of his São Paulo pizza.
yeah, and he was bragging. Philippe was bragging to me about how San Paulo pizza is better than New York pizza. And I asked him, well, are there places that have San Paulo pizza here in New York? And he said, yes. I go, well, then New York has the best pizza. I win. And he actually shut up and he turned around and he walked away.
I remember that. Oh my God, he was so naive,
Well, he
so
was going up against
gullible.
an Irishman, man. Come on. So, anybody
I
out
was.
there have any questions for Will? Please, this is the time to come on and ask some questions. Anything you want to know, anything you want to talk about, you just want to make comments as far as things he's done that you've
all
loved, that you appreciate,
all the dirty details.
all the dirty details. Seriously, though, you are one of the most humble artists and creators I've met, and especially with your skill level, it's nice to see, and I appreciate it. And
Thank you, my friend.
I really hope we can get the conventions going again soon, because the fan interaction is missing greatly right now. I mean, it's nice that they could sit and talk with you and kind of hear your stories and everything, but nothing beats the energy of a convention and being right there across the table from you, like you said, and being able to watch you draw and interact. And I can stand there next to you poking and going, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, for 20 minutes in New York Con.
I know. I know you can.
Oh, I know, you know.
But
And
I miss that too. For us, can you imagine? We spend all the time here, sitting here, drawing, and it's a very solitary work, and I miss that. That interaction for us is important too. To have that feedback and see that the work that we are doing, in a way, is reaching people. So that
sure.
when you can see that, it's very good for us.
So we have a few questions.
Okay, shoot.
Geraldo, what's most challenging work for you?
I mean, most challenging work or the most challenging work that I did?
Ask Geraldo.
Well, if he's asking about what is more difficult for me to draw, I mean, it depends. It depends on the book that I'm doing. Um, Most people say like backgrounds or they have a specific. For me, is the quiet scenes. I mean, especially when you have a book that has a lot of quiet scenes, only conversation and dialogue. Um, I always have not that it's difficult, but it's for me it's very exhausting because I have to think about a lot about facial expressions, body language. I have to change the camera angle all the time to
Right.
make it interesting, to bring the reader into the page, and when the time is needed to put them away. It's a very delicate work for me. I mean, I have to do a lot of layouts until I'm sure that I found, the best way to do it and the way it works. For me, that's the most difficult part.
I'd imagine hand and face gestures are probably the toughest thing to convey emotion or story without words. So I can imagine.
Yeah, it's difficult.
We do have a few questions too. We have Dan Lee. If Will could jump on any current run other than what he's doing, which run and why? We kind of went over that. I don't know if you caught it, but I will let Will answer again.
Well, if I could, I would love to go to start drawing Batman again. But the regional series, or I would love to do like a more not sinister, but a more psychological story of Batman, more dark, more like the Dark Knight or something like that.
It's funny to say that because I always wondered why someone didn't really. I mean, maybe I missed a story somewhere, but why haven't they gone more into the psychology of him? Because the kind of obsession you have and determination to do what that character would do,
Yeah.
you might not be very far off from the people you're trying to catch and put in Arkham. So I
No,
would
no,
find it
no,
to be
no,
very
no.
interesting.
Yeah, Batman should be in Arkham, in my opinion. I mean, he is a not a psychopath because but he is a sociopath in a way. If you can think about it, I mean, because a lot of people lost their parents, in very bad situations, and none of them did what he did.
Right.
So he's not a normal guy,
That's
and
true.
that's
And
great about him. Yeah,
so we all have
that's
to
great
petition
about him.
for you to write a Batman story as well as draw it then, because that would be a
Yeah,
great in-depth look into his mind.
I have a lot of ideas for a Batman story.
So start pitching them, man.
I already did. I already
Oh
started.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have to start the groundswell support. Hey Terrence, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Keith had asked. Uh, that's Terrence, and then we got Keith. Which book did you like drawing between the X Men run or the Avengers run? Which did you enjoy more?
The X-Men.
Yeah.
Uh, because I like the character more. I can't explain why. And the run that I did for X-Men was it was a very fun story. And so I liked it a lot more than I liked doing the Avengers too, but X-Men for me I had a great time doing X-Men.
And you got to do X Men versus Avengers, so you got to do them both together.
Yep,
Nice.
exactly.
So Geraldo was also asking any writer in your bucket list to work together with that you've never worked with before.
Mark Wade and Jeff Lemire.
Nice, nice.
Would
Jeff Lemire is
lo-
very hard to get in touch with.
No, I actually I have. I was actually talking to him last year. We were looking to do something together, but things got a little complicated for both of us. I was doing a lot of stuff, and he was doing a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
we couldn't really manage to put things together. But we decided we are going to keep talking about it, let's see. Maybe when this all this crazy stuff ends up, who knows? But I would love to do something with him, definitely.
Steve Garcia asked, when working on a book, do you rough the layout or thumbnail the entire book, or do you like to be a little more spontaneous with your planning?
No, I mean, I always like to do the layouts of the entire book because that way I can make sure that the storytelling works. Some people like to do it, on the fly, but for me, it's very important to make sure that everything is clicking all right. So I do the whole layout of the book, and if something is not working, I change it and I send it to the editor so they can see what the storytelling is going to look like. And in this way, I'm sure that I'm solving all the problems that I have to solve to make the
Right,
book work. And if I'm doing the pages on the fly, maybe um, when I'm finishing, I'm looking to the details and I'm not looking at the whole page. So sometimes I can miss something from one page to another, and so I
right.
rather do the layouts first.
That made me actually think of another question. Have you ever been at a point where you weren't going to make a deadline?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm very regular, but sometimes things happen. You can
Do
you
you
can
get
get
like
sick.
ghost artists to help, or
Yeah, or you know that I had an accident early in the year and I broke both
yes?
feet, so
I
I
didn't know
was
if you wanted to
late.
bring it up, so I didn't.
Yeah, so I was late. So I spoke to my editor and said, okay, I hurt, I got hurt. So because of the time that I had to spend at the doctors and stuff like that, I need somebody to do a few pages for me because I don't want the book to get late. So this kind of stuff, it's not usual, but sometimes it happens.
And Dante wanted to ask you, is there any chance of you doing any covers for Boom with their Serenity series? Because he really liked your
Well,
Serenity series back in the when you were Dark Horse.
if they ask for me, I'll be there in a split of second.
You heard him, Dante. So start pitching.
Yeah, I really really love what, as I said, I we didn't have the Firefly series here in Brazil when it happened, and when they said that they were casting somebody to draw the book, I didn't even know what it was about. I never seen it.
You didn't know
I
about the show
knew
or anything?
No, I didn't know. I The only thing that I knew is that it was Joss Whedon. So I said, okay, I want to look at it. I want to try it because if I had the chance to work with Joss Whedon again, I'm jumping into it. So I asked my agent to buy the DVD set for me.
I was going to
So
ask if you did that.
he bought the DVD and I watched the first uh, episodes, and I loved it so much that I start watching it all, and then I watch it all again. I think I watched that series like 5 times already.
You're lucky it was only
So
one season, though. That's a lot of research otherwise.
yep. So I love the I love that series, and if I have the chance to work on it again, I would.
So does anybody else have any other questions for Will? Can we see
Come on,
Conan?
guys.
How's that Conan
Oh,
looking?
almost done.
Very nice. So now, when you ink yourself on something, do you do like rough sketch with the pencil and then really do most of the detail work with the inks, or do you fully pencil it and then ink?
No, I do the first thing. I I I do
Do the
the
roughs?
I do the roughs. If there is something, there is more detail that I don't want to risk ruining while inking. Then I detail it a little more on pencils, but mostly I go straight on inks because I already have, sometimes most of the time I already have the picture in my mind, so I work straight on inks.
See, I always found that amazing and a great sense of confidence when artists would do that, just pencil out a rough sketch and do the detail in ink. I mean, I know you have the white pens and everything, but pencil is so much easier to correct than ink. So
Yeah,
it always amazes me when people do stuff like that. Um, so anybody else? Any questions for Will? Anything you want to know? Again,
all the
please
dirty,
what's that?
all the dirty details,
Yeah.
guys.
If you don't follow him, please do. He's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And in the chat and in the description of this video this evening, I have his links. So please go support him. You know, all these artists with pencils down and no conventions, etc. You know, they lost a lot of income and it's been rough for them. That's why I do this show, because whether they're well-established creators or up-and-coming people trying to pursue their dreams, you know, let's support them. Let's help these people do what they love and inspire us to do what we love. And that's the important thing, you know. Oh, Keith, I'm sorry. Keith Brunswick asked if you ever met the cast of Firefly, and I was going to ask you if you met Joss Whedon in person.
Yes and yes. I met
That's
Joss
cool.
Whedon. I met Joss Whedon in person. I think it was about 3 times, and I met the cast, most of the cast of Firefly.
All right, so you and I are going to have to talk on the side about who you're going to have to help me with. It's going to be a long list, my friend.
I did say I have them on my speed dial.
Yeah.
but I do.
Listen, I'll take scraps at this point, man. Come on. I'll take scraps. Feed a brother. Feed a brother. All right, I'm a fat Irishman. I know I don't look like I need to be fed, but I could use some feeding here. Come on.
Yeah, I met them while I was doing the series. And they were very nice, man, and they are so pretty. I mean, in person. Crazy.
Did you say that to him? You're so pretty in person.
No, I didn't. I was
shy.
shy.
If you said that, they might get a restraining order.
Get away from me.
Yeah, Brazilian artist has restraining order against him by the cast of Firefly.
That would be funny.
I think it would be. I'd actually take it, I would frame it, and I would make sure every time you're at my show, I'd have it up somewhere. It would even be part of your promo.
It would be my profile picture.
Yeah, exactly.
The restraining order, like.
Terrence had asked about your own creator series, and I'll just let you know, Terrence. Yes, he has a Red Border that's out now. It's a Forrester series, but he's also working on something that's hush hush right now that he can't talk about. So just follow his page, and when he's able to make the announcement, you'll be the first to know with the rest of us. Yeah. As far as Dan Lee asked if you do freelance work.
Freelance work like commissions or pages?
Dan, you want to? I don't want to speak for you, so do you want to elaborate on that question for Will?
So if it's like a page stories, interiors or something like that, it's a little more difficult because in the end we don't have so much time, so much free time to
right.
To take a whole book to draw. But I can draw like a cover or a commission or something like that if I have the time, and I can do something like that.
Keith had asked, how did you like drawing Buffy?
Oh, it was amazing.
Were you a fan of the show before drawing it, or?
I became a fan after.
Okay.
Just like Say.
I loved that show.
Yeah. Oh, man. And I also became a fan of Angel and Faith. I got the DVD set for both of them.
Nice.
And there is it's a little different when you are drawing like a comic book character like Conan or any Marvel or DC character.
Right.
Then when you are drawing a book that is based on actors, it's more difficult because you have to keep the likenesses.
Yeah.
And in most of the cases, the art has to go through the actors, or at least the production people from the show. They have to approve it. So it's always a little more bureaucratic.
So are they a little more strict with the guidelines? Yeah. Okay, I was going to ask you that. Yeah. How do you feel as an artist when you with that? Because that's that contradicts the whole point of being an artist, because you want freedom of expression and spontaneity. If they're a little more stringent and outlined.
in my case, the way I view it is like, okay, this is a challenge. I like a challenge, so let's do it. I don't see it as restraining. I see it as, okay, let's see if I can make it. And
Knowing you
I
on the
mean,
level I do, I would expect that answer from you.
huh?
Knowing you at the level that I know you, I would expect that answer from you, and I think that's a great answer. It's why you're able to stay even keel and just look at the positive of everything and just make the best out of it and do it.
Yeah.
It's a good attitude. Dan
Thank
Lee
you,
was
man.
Dan Lee was just to be specific. You were saying, do you do covers for indie books? By the way, Dan Lee is working on his own projects, and I can't
Cool.
wait to see that stuff
Yeah,
come
I
out.
do. I mean, as I
But
said,
so do you do covers? Like, if you had time, would you freelance covers for indie books?
sure.
There's your answer, Dan. Cool. Well, look, Will, I just want to tell you, honestly, it's been great to develop the friendship I've had with you. I look forward to seeing you again at a con. You definitely have to come break bread at the house and come to the house again. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you nothing but success. And God bless you and your family. And man, I just look forward to seeing more of your art and more of your projects. And everybody pick up Red Border. Look at your comic stores.
Yeah.
If your comic store is not carrying it, ask them to order it for you. And let's check this out, okay? I've seen the artwork. Obviously, it's fantastic. And there's Conan.
Just in time.
See, I love his facial expression, the jawline. He looks rough. He looks like a barbarian. He doesn't look pretty. He's not supposed to be pretty.
Ah,
Oh, Geraldo did ask, though, what are you reading now?
I am reading the script for Justice League. I'm not reading as much as I would like. I have.
Well, between
I
your
usually,
therapy and you getting better, and then trying to meet your deadlines, you're booked.
yeah. Usually, what I'm doing is I have to read whatever I'm working on, and especially if something that is happening here in one issue that is going to. I have to know what came before.
Right.
So I read that, to have the information. But as a fan, I haven't been able to read a lot of stuff that I would like to read, unless it's something very specific. So right now I'm not reading anything besides the scripts that I have to work on.
Well, I'm glad you're getting better, and I know you've been working hard to get better. I sincerely hope you get better soon, and you can start enjoying things and not being laid up in a chair all
Thank you.
day. I don't want to get
Thank you,
into
my friend.
personal details too much, but he really did injure himself. Or he did it. It wasn't his fault, but I mean, if you're welcome to mention if you'd like. But let's just all prayers that you get better.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had a little accident. I'm not going to get into it. Early in the year, and I broke both of my feet, and I have been doing physiotherapy since then.
Let's just say he
And
kicked a few people in the rear end, and he did it at the same time, unfortunately. So, yeah, it was a drop kick.
but I'm much better now. I'm able to walk. I mean, I'm still limping, but I have been able to walk, and I'm getting better every day. So hopefully, like in 1 month or two, I'll be almost as good as you.
Well, if not, I can give you piggyback rides around New York City Comic Con.
I'll be counting on that.
There'll be a lot of photo ops on that one.
Oh yes.
Will, it really is great to talk to you, and thanks for coming on. I had a blast. And let's do this again.
Thank you for having me, man. I always love talking to you. Always love talking to the fans. And I see here that Dan is saying that he broke his neck. Oh man, I'm sorry. Yours were much worse than mine. Um, but thank you for having me. Thank you everybody. Thanks everybody that are there watching. Um, Feel free to contact me. I'm always glad to talk to everybody, and I hope it has been as fun for you guys as has been for me.
I'm going to tell you, when the saying "never meet your heroes." Um, Will is the example of how that statement is wrong. Seriously, he's
Oh,
so approachable. I mean, you go to his table and you
ah,
think you were talking
I'm
to old
blushing, man.
man. Yeah. Well, I'm being serious.
Thank
Honestly,
you.
as much as the art on the wall that I have from him is fantastic. He really, you really are like a cool. I've met so many great people in the industry, and I'm grateful. But I've transcended to a friendship with some, and you are obviously one of them. Always welcome at my home any day. And
Thank you, my friend. Same here.
heal up, but I'll still give you a piggyback ride because I think that would really be hysterical watching us run around
I
Artist Alley.
I will not go to New York otherwise.
Yeah, fair enough. And we are getting pizza next time, and you bring in Philippe.
Cool. Slap the pizza on his face.
Exactly. You show him this video, tell him to watch the end.
Yeah, I will.
Will, have a great night, my friend. Heal well.
Thank you, man. Bye,
Take
guys.
care. All right, so that's episode number 3 wrapped up, everybody. I do want to say that there have been some great supporters of this show from the start. Dante Hicks and Dan Lee and Steve Garcia and other people that they like to keep their names hidden for some reason. They don't join the chat, but Chris Tomulovich, Patrick Lynch, a lot of really supportive people. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting the artists. Thank you for being cool people that I've met. And I just want to tell everybody, please share this. If you enjoy the show, if you think it's entertaining, please let everybody know about the show because we really, let's get the viewership in. Let them come in, support these artists. Let's keep this show going. I really am getting some amazing people that are coming on. I think you've seen the post of who's coming. But we have Ryan Kincaid and we have Jason Metcalf. We have Livio Romandelli. We have Chris Campana. We have Meredith Finch. We have Joseph Rubenstein. We have so many great names. We have Chris Mad coming on. We have Eric Minoltowski. We have, I'm trying to think of Sora Sung. We really, Geraldo Borges will be next Friday. We have so many great guests coming. So please tell everybody, share the posts. Let's make this big and let's do this together. And I'm serious about this too. I know some people see that I'm getting these Marvel and DC artists on here. I don't care if you're published or not, whether it's a Kickstarter, whether it's you're just trying to make a living on commissions. Reach out to me. There's a place for you on this show. Everyone who's in the comic community, who's an artist or a writer or an inker or a colorist, is welcome on this show. This show is no better than anybody else in this community. So I want you to reach out to me. Let's get you on here. Let's get your books promoted. Let's get your Kickstarters promoted. Let's get your dreams going. Okay? And the more we get followers, the more are seeing your work when it's your turn to be on. Having said that, thank you so much to everybody for coming on. Please come out Tuesday. And I leave you with this. Have fun storming the castle. Good night.